So, welcome everybody to the Rohini Memorial Conference, and also welcome to CHEP, Center for High Energy Physics in Indian Institute of Science. Indian Institute of Science is a huge institution. We have about 45 departments and about 5,000 graduate students and 1,000 to 2,000, 1,200 undergraduate students. But we are a small center inside it. So we work on various things. I'm just trying to introduce you our center essentially. This center was founded in 2004. We work on various things including quantum field theory, standard model and physics beyond standard model, experimental particle searches at CERN, collider data analysis, astroparticle physics. We have very strong dark matter group, lattice gauge theories, low energy QCD, string theory and its variations, a little bit of condensed matter, but very little bit, because the physics department is a separate department which is mostly concentrated on condensed matter, experimental and theory. Right now we are about close to 80 members, including the staff and everybody, and we have about another 20 undergraduates with us, so together we will be about 100 people around essentially, which is very small compared to the institute standards essentially. Okay. So these are our faculty. Actually, a couple of them have retired recently. We have about 9 postdocs and about 45 students and so on. So essentially. But it was not always like this. This center was earlier, actually it was formed as Center for Theoretical Studies by KP Sinha and ECG Sudarshan under the directorship of Satish Dhawan. He insisted that we should have a Center for Theoretical Studies. And this was in this old building here, you can see, this is in 1970s essentially, which was a very nice building. It still exists actually, but it's taken by something else. And this building, but they had everybody. They had ecologists, they had meaning atmospheric scientists, everybody who was doing theoretical studies essentially, and even humanities. They also had humanities people also working in it. And then we moved to a different building, which was this building, which is a later building, which came up in the early 90s essentially. And this is where Rohini started her journey with IISc. Okay, but she had earlier connections also with the IISc. So IISc had a rich tradition of particle physics. We started what is called as the Tasi version of CERC, which are called CERC schools. It's like the Indian version of Tasi. So these were started by Professor Mukunda in 1980s, essentially in 82. And you can see Rohini here. She was a lecturer already in 84 here essentially. Okay, she was teaching in the second school of the CERC schools in the early 80s essentially, and that's how her association with IISc started. And she brought in a completely, it was a very formal place, very mathematical physics and QCD oriented place. And she brought in collider phenomenology to IISc essentially. She was the one who brought it in essentially. Okay. And in 1995, she officially joined the institute at the CTS in the old building. She was an associate professor at CTS. She joined as an associate professor. And within 3 years, she became a full prof and also the chair of the department, essentially. She was the chair for about 5 years, essentially. And, okay, at that time, there were not many people in CTS, actually. And when she was the chair, the CTS had, I think, roughly 5 people. Okay, 5 faculty and 1 or 2 students, essentially. Okay, but sort of it was some sort of a coincidence of events, or all her things what she wanted to do sort of came into fruition in Bangalore. Okay, I won't go to the entire history of Rohini, but I'm only telling you about the association she had with IISc. Okay, and um, I had already given a talk the entire thing about her some time ago, essentially. But here and there will be many people talking about her at various aspects of her life, essentially, during this conference. So during this period, I think her career really blossomed a lot, and whatever she wanted to do really essentially came to fruition. Okay, she wrote a lot of papers. Actually, the last the last paper appeared in November this year after her passing away. Ritesh is one of the authors. I think he's here. Yeah, there's Ritesh, essentially. And so you can see she wrote a lot of papers, and this is one of the papers I wrote with her on charge and color breaking minima and supersymmetric theories. Now, Rohini was interested in many things. She was interested in particle physics, various aspects of particle physics, collider physics, BSM, supersymmetry, dark matter, ILC, neutrino physics, strong interactions, top and Higgs, EFTs, photon structure functions, GPDs, everything almost. And other two main aspects of her life were essentially concerned with women in science, which was something which she started in the early 2000s, okay, which she was a strong advocate about. And then she also was a great a believer in globalization of scientific collaborations, essentially. Maybe because of the field we are in, which is a completely scientific international field, she was really into policy making and also into pushing into the globalization of scientific collaborations. So her scientific output is pretty strong, about 300 papers with an average citations about 60. And she produced about 10 to 12 official students, and of course, unofficially she produced a lot of more students actually. She, in fact, it's very hard to tell who is not a Rohini student or who is a Rohini student, because she considered many students as her own, essentially, and of course, more prominent about them who are still in physics are Sridhar, Dilip. Dilip will be there tomorrow. Ritesh is here, and Amandeep, who is here, was his last student who submitted his final defense 2 weeks ago, essentially after her passing away. So she had about 100 collaborators. I put in some names, essentially, so some nice features, essentially. Okay, many of you are here, and of course this famous book on supersymmetry, theory and phenomenology of S particles, with Manuel and Verbeer. Okay, so she was also pretty interested in international collaborations, and she started with the 1990s web meetings, then linear collider workshop, then she had India ILC group running with Atul, essentially. Atul is here, and then she was a part of this. She essentially considers science as a global endeavor, and beyond institutions, beyond boundaries. She never considered herself localized into ISC or something, essentially. She considered herself as more like a global scientist, and so she had also initiated a lot of Indo-French, Indo-German, Indo-Austrian, Indo-Japanese, Indo-US collaborations almost all over the globe, actually. And she was also in the advisory panel of Dutch Theoretical Physics School, CEPC, China, ILC, Japan, US Particle Physics panel. So she was everywhere on the east and west of the globe, essentially. Okay, so early 2000s, she started interested in women in science. I think we'll have a talk on it tomorrow. She took up encouragement for women to give. She was very keen on women encouragement to take up science careers, and she also instituted this gender equality as a policy. She was part of this three academics panel, in which for the first time the Women in Science programs were instituted in India. So you can see here essentially these programs were started in the discussion started early 2000s, and then later on I think by 2021 everything became formalized, and there are panels in every academy now for the Women in Science, essentially including the Physics Teacher Association. She never felt discriminated herself in science in real sense, in the sense because she considered herself equal to everybody essentially, as far as gender is concerned essentially. But there are instances where she may have felt it, for not in physics wise but some recognition wise or something essentially. Okay, always a champion of persons who are coming back to research. Say for example, women, she was always passionate about women who had taken career breaks and who wanted to come back to physics, mostly in particle physics. She was very interested in trying to bring them back, and she was talking to the directors and everybody, trying to bring them back some way or the other, to bring them back into physics. She has a couple of books, very nice books with Ram Swami on A Girl's Guide to a Life in Science and Leelavati's Daughters. And of course, she has received innumerable awards and recognition and fame. And as a center, we had to report all her awards every quarter, essentially. So every quarter, she had some new award or the other, essentially. In total awards, she has about 40 or 50 awards, essentially. And there was not one quarter in which she didn't have an award, essentially, as far as I could know. As far as I think Justin can verify. I think as long as we both were the chairs, I think every quarter she was the one, essentially. So this is the Padma Shri, and this is the recognition with the Prime Minister of India. This is the French Medal of Honor. So on, so essentially. So thanks to all of you for coming here, essentially. And one thing is that she always wanted a conference after her retirement, in which all her friends come from international people and everything, essentially international and national people come together. And given that she was so busy, she could never find the dates. So she kept telling me, let's do this, but we could never find the dates. But it's unfortunate that we had to do it now, essentially, which it's a turn of events and style, essentially, like the same. So this conference could not have been organized without the Institute's generous grant. It gave us a huge grant to organize this conference. And in addition to some people of you who made registration fee and everything. In addition, we also have an anonymous donor who gave a significant amount, essentially. So there was so there was a lot of people, well-wishers, and including the Indian Institute of Science, which supported this conference. Now, there is this idea, which along with the family, that we should start something called the Rohini Endowment Fund, which is a fellowship for returning women to particle physics, or physics in general, to be given everything. And this fellowship would be funded from the interest from the fellowship fund. The interest is about 6% per annum. It's not very high, essentially. So we hope the family will make an announcement tomorrow, and they will give some lump sum. But if anybody who's willing to contribute to us, please contact us, essentially. So we'll share you the details, essentially. So we can pull the money together and see how much it comes, and we can start a fellowship, essentially. The idea is that we'll finish collecting by September 2025, and so that we have 1 year to start the fellowship by fall next year, essentially. Okay, that's the basic idea, essentially. Okay, so if anybody is interested, just let us know, and please contact us for details. Uh, any other information you need also, you'll be happy to share. So, so let's all celebrate her life and work during these 3 days. Essentially, there is a memoriam page. I think the spelling of the memoriam is wrong, but but it's still the link which we have. So there's still a memoriam page at our institute website. Please leave your messages, thoughts, and everything. We are collecting all the information in the press, the photographs of hers in that, essentially, which will be kept there, essentially. Okay. So thank you very much, and welcome to the conference.